Hey, you. Yes, you're here. And that says something. I'm so excited. I'm Kathleta. I'm the owner and the creator of the Alex Apothecary. And welcome to the Oracle Audios for August 9th through the 16th. If you don't know, let me just do some housekeeping. I'm ADHD, autistic, BIPOC. I'm also initiated in both a Hermetic and Egyptian lineage with over a decade of lived practice. I have been practicing magic all my life, but officially since over a decade. I'm a walker between worlds. I help people find their way back to themselves. And this Oracle audio is where we go deeper into the weekly tarot reading. I pull it for the collective and also go into depth with Hermetic insights and Kabbalistic insights. And this week, all reversed cards, which isn't surprising because, a lot of reverse cards have been pulled since I started doing this and offering it in my Patreon and then switched to Oracle audios. It's a great way for us to dig into the shadow aspect and do shadow work, which is just part of my purpose. So if you haven't already, grab a journal or put in your headphones, grab a cup of coffee, some tea, or if you're just, relaxing somewhere, maybe some whiskey if you're old enough to drink. Anyways, let's begin. And we're going to start off with an opening prayer and just set the tone because this is magic for me. Beloved light and shadow, open our eyes to see what we haven't seen yet. Let our hearts be willing to pause, our minds be humble enough to listen, our spirits strong enough to walk forward with clarity. May this week's lessons become the tools we carry into every decision, every connection, and every act of courage. So mote it be. Okay, so the theme of this week, we're going to be talking about sacrifice, clarity, and courage in the right measure. This week, the cards are asking to slow down and see things differently. Really just to take a look inward if you haven't been already. Or maybe just it's like a spiral, so another facet of looking deeper within. We're being invited to examine where we've been holding control too tightly or moving without compassion where there's just rigidity. Where just kind of like a stick up your butt kind of thing, and to reclaim our strength, to balance discipline with mercy. So really Kabbalistically, not swinging the pendulum so much to Hesed or so much to Geburah, but finding that middle pillar and really just forging and understanding the wisdom of all as the corporate buzzword, the opportunities that are there. So the first card is the Hanged Man. So this is path 23. The Hebrew letter is Mem. This is linking Geburah, which is discipline, severity, to Hod, intellect, and surrender. And this is all on the pillar of severity. So astrology, Neptune's about dissolving boundaries and surrendering to higher truth. Element I'd say is water. So Kabbalistic insight. So with this card, so Mem is about just deep water initiation in a sense. And what cannot be seen on the surface where the transformation is occurring. So you are in the waters between structure, Geburah, and the surrender of Hod. And I know that's weird because Hod is all about intellect. And where do we surrender with that? So bear with me. So learning how to accept stillness without losing momentum. So the Hanged Man. So this is the descent from severity and discipline of Geburah into the structure and surrender of the intellect of Hod. Water here tempers the fire of Geburah, but only after you've gone deep enough to dissolve what no longer serves. Okay? So true power sometimes looks like inaction. And this, we've been talking about this for weeks. And this comes from discernment. The Hanged Man is teaching that the greatest victories are won when the ego is willing to release its grip, allowing a higher intelligence to rearrange the field. So if things are coming up again and again, just different facets of things for you to learn, what we resist persists. Okay? So the Hanged Man, so this descent from the severity and the discipline of Geburah into the structure and surrender of the intellect of Hod, and really just dissolving what no longer serves. And that includes the ego. That includes what we may think that are beliefs, patterns, systems, structures that did serve, but they are no longer serving your highest good. And again, this comes with just discernment. And so some entities to work with to clarify this, I'd say Archangel Gabriel, I'd say Odin, and Teth or Toth. The affirmation I have is, I pause without fear. In stillness, my next step reveals itself. So when we're working towards a goal or something, sometimes we just need to know the next step. Like we have the big picture, right? Got the big picture of the ultimate desired outcome of what you want, whatever it is. But sometimes you just need to know the next step. Okay? It's like you're on a train and you just need to know how to get to the next benchmark, the next pit stop. Sorry, I'm mixing all my things. Welcome to my brain. Okay, so journal prompts. Where am I being asked to wait instead of push forward? And what does that look like to you? And how is this showing up? How is spirit telling you this? How are you telling you this, you know? And here's another one. The old pattern or belief. What old pattern or belief feels ready to be surrendered? If something is consistently popping up in your life, a lesson, but just in a different facet, you know, whatever it is, if you're the common denominator, and it's not anything bad, but if you're the common denominator, what is it? What pattern, what belief is ready to be surrendered? And are you ready to surrender? And if you're not, just, you know, be honest with yourself. There's something about that pattern or that belief structure that's a payoff, whether good or bad, depending on the vantage point. So remembering, you know, the discomfort that you may have, the temporary discomfort that you may have, but the long-term gain of surrendering what isn't for your highest good. And what does that look like? Okay. And how can stillness become an active part in my spiritual practice? We've talked about this, people. Meditation. Have we? Yes, we've talked about this over and over again. There are different forms of meditation. Okay, I've got meditations on here. I've got path workings on here. There's the science behind it besides the woo-woo. What does stillness look like to you? It can be coloring, it could be crocheting, it could be knitting, it could be Qigong, it could be Tai Chi, it could be Qi Do. So many different things are a form of stillness, even also just sitting still. Okay? So moving on to card 2. So we talked about the Hangman. So moving on to card 2, it's the King of Swords reversed. So it's Yetzirah, heir of air, in its shadow form. So it's distorting intellect into control. And I got the visualization of like just rigidity, just to stick up your butt, like this is the way, and not in like the cool this is the way Mandalorian, sorry, but in the way of where it's cruel, okay? It's mean, like a meanie weenie. That's what I get. So astrology, Aquarius, Capricorn influence, when reversed, brilliance can turn into detachment, strategy into cold calculation, just ruthlessness, just mean. So where is this popping up? It could be an external force, a system, a structure, a person that has been in your life, and, you know, are you ready to let it go? It could be that. Everybody's different. So the Kabbalistic insight, the King of Swords belongs to the world of Yetzirah, the realm of formation and intellect, errs in its purest structure. In its upright state, it's the architect's mind. Okay, but reversed, the intellect folds in on itself. All right? And it becomes strategy without compassion. I just get coldness, you know? And it's like a distortion even of kind of clarity, because it's so astringent. There's no warmth, not seeing nuance. In the shadow of Yetzirah, thoughts no longer form bridges, okay? They're forming walls. Again, rigidity, stick up the butt. Air of air here becomes a dry wind, in the sense that erodes connection rather than carrying truth. This is the warning to temper intellect with the breath of Ruach, the spirit that animates the world with life. Without it, the mind rules as a cold tyrant, severing what it cannot control. And just, this is, you know, in the cards also, when looking at it, some of the key words were heartless, you know, devious, selfish. And this card's energy is about just in ego. So how to bring this into balance? So the affirmation, my words serve as truth, not ego. My mind is my ally, not my master. And entities to work with to really help with this, I'd say, is Archangel Raphael. Really work on healing that communication with yourself and with others. Hermes and Ma'at. Journal prompts. How have I been over-relying on intellect rather than empathy? Where am I speaking to be right instead of connect? What does responsible leadership look like in my current situation? And then the third card, strength. Beautiful strength. Okay. So this card just screams Leo energy, and we're in Leo season. So the path, 19 Hebrew letter Teth, linking Hesed, mercy, expansion, to Kabbalah. So we had talked about that middle pillar. So this is the path between those two spheres, or spherot, that we talked about earlier, and the hangman. How not swinging the pendulum. So Leo is the astrology, sovereignty, creative vitality, the heart's courage, the element is fire. So the Kabbalistic insight, Teth is the coiled force of potential, the serpent's power, Disciplined but never diminished, it connects Hesed to Geburah, where mercy meets severity and learns how to dance without overpowering one another. Teth teaches that true power is not in crushing the lion, but in taming it through presence. Here, the fire of Geburah is shaped by the compassion of Hesed, creating a heat that refines rather than burns. The serpent's coil symbolizes energy held in reserve, waiting for the precise moment to act. Strength through patience, not brute force. And I keep talking about this, but discernment is like the key word. And I'd say even more to drop down into Tiferet. But this path, the strength path, it's one of mastery over the self. The as above, so below. As within, so without. The lion is instinct and the woman is spirit. So when the two are in harmony, you will become unshakable. Not because, unshakable because it's not born from fear, but from sovereignty. Okay. Having the strength, the courage. So Archangel Michael and Sekhmet and Durga are great entities to work on the strength and also courage, protection, and then with Sekhmet, divine wrath and healing, Durga, victory through compassion. My compassion is my power, my strength is my calm, is the affirmation. And journal prompts, where do I need to be courageous in both action and in heart? And what does that look like? What part of myself needs gentleness instead of discipline right now? And what does that look like? And how can I embody power without losing compassion? And again, like the strength, these are all linked. The strength, the King of Swords reversed is just like when things take the wrong turn and you turn in on itself. They're all linked, okay? So looking at this, exercising discernment in each of these areas is going to really help with different facets, whether it's an external force, an internal force. And the energies that we're working with now, yesterday was the full moon because I'm recording this on the 10th, and it was the full moon in Aquarius. We are coming into tomorrow, Venus conjunct Jupiter, which is a great opportunity for some fun, I'd say love magic. So doing it on a Monday, so really working at opening the doors. And it is a waning moon, but can work it different so that it can still work it, okay? You can make an offering to Venus or Jupiter just to anchor the energy. And then August 11th is Mercury direct. And then August 15th, got the last quarter moon in Taurus, which is a great time to release attachment to what no longer serves your stability, material or emotional. And as you know, and if you don't know, for deeper support, like there will be a path working with this. I also offer ritual work on behalf of clients. I do spelled candles, magical perfumes, distance healings, and they're all at fiatluxapothecary.company.site. There's my Patreon, YouTube for additional path workings, oracle audios, all the teachings, and I'm just so excited. Let's close this out with a prayer. Spirit of wisdom, Spirit of truth, Spirit of courage, walk with us in stillness and discernment and grace. May our sacrifices be holy, our words be clean, and our strength be a blessing to all we interact with. And so it is. Okay, guys, I'm so excited for this week. These journal prompts, you can, if you're on Patreon, it will be up shortly. Pathworking will be up later. And just thank you so much for all the support. And I saw the new subscribers. I and thank you for all the questions that I'm getting in my DMs. You guys are amazing and I love the support. So, thank you. And until next time, this is Kathlena. Toodles!